Hey guys, welcome to Perfect Timing. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, the buttons here on the bottom. Thank you so much.
Why you looking so drained? Remind me of what's your name. Is anybody listening to you? Does anybody really care for you? I can tell that you haven't been given much.
All right, welcome to Perfect Timing. Today's guest. She isn't just beautiful. She isn't just gorgeous, all right? She has 2 businesses and she's been on 69 News. Her name is Coral. And how you doing though?
Amazing. How are you?
I'm good. So like what got you inspired to be an entrepreneur?
Okay. So what can I say that got me inspired to become an entrepreneur? I don't think it was ever something that I said, oh, I would like to own my own business. Or I want to start, this journey of becoming an entrepreneur. It was more of a trial and error, if I could say, in my life. My mom has been an entrepreneur her whole life, and she used to tell me, this is what you're going to be doing. I support any career path that you're trying to take. But this is what you're going to end up doing, type of deal. And moms tell you things and you're like, no, mom, I'm going to be this. And I was infatuated with becoming a therapist. Then I wanted to join the Air Force. So and so on. I wanted to study criminal justice. I dropped out of college 3 times. Trying to, have a career, get my bachelor's degree, but I was so miserable and so unhappy. I always had a dream for fashion. I used to do modeling when I was younger. I used to do beauty pageants when I was younger. And I used to love everything that had to do with designer, with clothing. So I know I always wanted like a store, but it wasn't something, it was just something I said. I never really put it into action or actually thought it would become true. So it was just something in the back of my mind that I never really paid attention to because I was just so focused on what society wanted me to become instead of what I actually had inside of me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when the pandemic hit, I had a lot of time to think.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're all locked in our houses, and I actually had time to think, to read, to watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I started getting a lot of inspiration. I started to understand that what I wanted was actually not impossible at all, and that I can make a living out of myself. I started seeing all these, girls that started off with their boutiques and had YouTube channels, and you could see the growth throughout the years. And I think that's where I started to get most of my inspiration to really say, hey, this is possible. This is what I want. Let me, do more research so I know how I can, begin this process.
Man, that's a lot to unpack. So let me go back a little bit. All right. So a model. Okay. Because that caught my attention. So how long you used to be modeling for? Okay. And then during the process, right? I know you talked about beauty pageants, all this, and what made you like, obviously you said during the pandemic you were, researching and stuff, but like what made you said like during your research time, you're like, this is actually doable?
I used to watch a lot, Jackie, she owns Gia Monet, her YouTube channel, and she really has recorded her whole journey on entrepreneurship. So she gave a lot of guides on how to start, where to find vendors, and all of those type of deals. She was very always open and upfront, and I love that about her. So I just kept watching her whole history.
Yeah.
YouTube, and that's really where I got my inspiration to really start.
That's awesome. How did you open up Shop Catalea and a Society of CEOs? So explain both to me.
Okay, so Catalea, that was in my journey when I told you during the pandemic, I had all that time to think and to watch all these, YouTube videos and books. So that's where in the season that Catalea was born. It took me a couple months to get it together. I wanted everything to be like so like almost perfect, and that's something that is never going to happen, but I had a vision, and I wanted my store to be, you know, clean and just so people could actually see the work that I'm putting into, you know, the store. So it took me a couple months. I started this journey like maybe March, and I ended up launching the store in October. For a Society of CEOs, I started this marketing and networking company because where I live, there aren't many networking events for young entrepreneurs or just places in general where we can get together and promote our businesses. And I am from Allentown, Pennsylvania. This is a very small town, but it has a lot of talent.
Yep.
A lot of people, you know, since it's such a small town, they say, hey, like, you know, it's a small town, whatever. This is not New York or California, but there is a lot of potential. And I wanted to create a platform where people can expose their businesses, expose themselves, their services. So that's where the event was born. I have had 2 events this year. The third one is coming up December 19th. So I basically do vendor events where different businesses come, promote their services, but I also give it like a brunch kick to it, so the community will come, eat, you know, enjoy, shop, and just network around with all the businesses.
Wow. Man, girl, you've been busy, huh? You've been busy. And it was crazy because, so I have another good question. How did you meet up with Oscar and Rose?
So I'm sorry, which Oscar are we talking about? I know Rose.
Yeah.
You're talking Rose.
Yeah.
Oscar.
Omac. There we go.
I know J Rose personally. Oscar.
Okay. Oh, you haven't met Omac yet? Oh,
I don't. So
wow, that's okay. So we'll start with J Rose. Go ahead. Start with that one. Go ahead.
So J Rose, I think we've been acquaintances for a couple years. Her family has always served in the community. I've participated in many events in the community. So I think we always knew of each other, but we didn't know each other like personally till recently. She reached out to me for, you know, this event that she has going on. Amazing idea, by the way. Where did my screen go? So she has this event going on in January and that she wants me to participate of. And that's where we kind of got a little more personal, if I could say.
Yeah. That's awesome though. So like, and this networking event, have you met a lot of people in who do different stuff? Because you said like, you know, entrepreneurs and stuff like that. Has it been expanding more and more, obviously, with each event?
Yes, it actually has. Each event, it expands on its own, if I could say, because everyone just naturally networks. I get to meet different business owners of different paths of life. So everyone is always asking me, hey, do you know someone that does this type of business? And I always know because I'm coming across these people constantly and their business cards. And I really appreciate when someone gives me a business card. I always take a picture of it and put it in an album in my phone. So whenever I need someone or I remember this person, I'll go into my album and I'll see their business card, you know, just to make them, you know, I like to make others feel like I do remember you. I do appreciate this. And one day, instead of me reaching out to a big company, if I can use your small business for my services, I will.
That's awesome, man. Like I can tell you're doing a lot for the community and like how you're putting people together. And it's like, it's a very important thing, especially in Allentown, because I'm from Allentown as well. So it's like crazy because I was, you know, from there and I didn't even know about this. I just, like I said, like, you never know what can happen, right? Because of technology and the internet. I was like, well, I see what she does. I like to put, you know, other business owners in my interviews. And I was like, I got to hit you up, girl. You know what I'm saying? So here we are. So that's awesome. So tell me more about, what's it called? You said military. That caught my interest too. So like, what made you say I wanted to be like in the military? Oh, like that 1 year, I guess you could say.
Yeah. When I was in high school, I was in a JROTC program. Um, JROTC, yeah,
Yeah.
program, and I was infatuated with the military. I was infatuated with the Air Force. I looked up a lot to my superiors, and I was always following their advice. And I just found a huge passion, and everything was ready. I
Yeah.
just had at the end something didn't let me go. But that was a phase in my life of the money that I had as a teenager.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. I learned a lot. Thank God I never joined the Air Force because God knows I wouldn't have made it through. But yeah.
So, you say you struggled a little bit? You had like a little bit
Yeah,
of struggle?
it was
Okay.
amazing that I thought I could do that. That's great, but no.
Well, I'm glad that you're here because we have this wonderful interview. Let's get into a deeper question. And this is my favorite part of the interview. I always say this in every interview, but how have you ever battled with mental health? And if you did, like, how long was the journey?
Um, so actually I have battled with mental health since I was very young. Um, I've always I was always a child, very I was outgoing, but at the same time I was very locked into myself.
Yeah.
And I went through a couple childhood traumas that kind of like impacted me.
Mhm.
I went through a phase where I was very, very like depressed as as a young teenager. Um, I would get a lot of anxiety. I would just doze off all the time. Like I wouldn't pay attention to anything. Like I was there, but I wasn't. Throughout the years, my mom always, kept kept me out on the lookout. She would, you know, be behind me. She would take me to my therapist, and so on and so on. So this day, I still um, go to my therapist. I actually haven't visited my therapist in a couple months, but weekly, I would have a once in a week visit with my therapist, um, just to just to talk. Sometimes, a lot of people think that just because you have certain things going on and you go to a doctor, it's the end of the world. No, there's certain things that you go through in life and you just don't want to talk it out with anyone.
Yeah.
Having all of that anger and anxiety and sadness build up into you, it only is going to cause you to explode and make you um function differently on a daily basis. And I think it's good um to open up, even if you don't want to open up to a friend. But my therapist to me is like my holy girl.
Yeah.
I tell her everything. Um, even if after that 45 minutes I have to get up and get myself back together. I still suffer from a lot of anxiety, but throughout time, without medications, I have learned to manage that. Um, I've suffered a lot from like anger issues, if I could say. And throughout time, that's just things that I've learned to work on. And I understood that all of that being built inside of me and the tension of work and life problems and all of that get all mixed up together in your mind and inside of you. And if you don't let it out, you're just going to explode.
Exactly.
And when I say explode, a lot of people think like, boom, no, just on the daily basis with your actions, slacking, just not being mindful of your actions and saying things that you don't mean. All of those things influence with you exploding.
Yeah. So let's get deeper. Is it okay? Get deeper into it?
It's okay.
Okay. Okay. Are you sure? I just want to make sure.
It's okay.
Okay. All right, cool. Just to make you feel more comfortable, I used to battle with depression a lot. Like, when I say a lot, like for 13 plus years. And finally, it took a stranger for me to get out of that. So that's why I'm very big on talking about this. So, like, I'm very like deep on this. So I can give you more of my journey too, but yeah, it's about you. So yes. So can we get deeper into what caused the drama or the anger, if you don't mind me asking?
Young or like more as an adult?
We'll start as an adult. We'll start with an adult.
Yeah,
We're
okay.
already here. Yeah.
So as an adult, I believe like the past like yeah, I've been an adult for a couple years now. So since I've been an adult, um, I actually got into a very serious relationship young, and throughout the years, without me noticing, I truly lost myself. In that process of losing myself and just completely ignoring like what I needed as a woman and what my soul needed, I got completely like lost in this space.
Yeah.
Mind you, I am not understanding throughout these years what I was going through
Yeah.
or what I had put myself into. So I became very depressed, very anxious, very angry, throughout the situation going on in my relationship. Um, you go through a lot of positive things in a relationship, but sometimes you just have to look at a balance and see what outweighs what. And
Mhm.
I was young, I was with an older person. So I was I was very easy to manipulate.
Yeah.
I was very easy to convince because I didn't have the knowledge or the life experience or whatever you can call it to just, you know, attack these life situations that were coming at me. And I was just getting locked inside of myself. And I started becoming very angry and I started distancing myself from people that truly loved me.
Sure.
And when I just looked around, all of a sudden I had lost myself. I was sad all the time. I was crying all the time. I was angry all the time, especially angry.
Yeah.
And nobody would understand. And not even myself, truly.
Yeah.
I know understood why I would just be so angry and so anxious. So I could say that mostly had really like impacted me. Like in my adult life, I could say it was really my past relationship. My whole life revolved around my relationship. So when you allow something like that to take over everything and it just blinds you, that really impacted my emotional life, my self-esteem. I felt very down, um, and so on and so on.
Wow. And it's true because relationships, you can definitely lose yourself. I can tell you that much. I lost myself well, to this one girl. It was bad. It was really very bad. Like, and people were saying, "Get out." You know what
Oh,
I'm saying?
you're just love. Like there's just people that they get to an extent that they lose themselves. They
Mhm.
forget that hey, I exist, that my feelings matter, and that my voice matters. And
Mhm.
some just to not cause problems, you start ignoring and ignoring, and then you get stuck in that bubble, and
Yeah.
that's where all begin.
Yeah. And 100% on that because like I said, I've been through it too, girl. um, so tell me now more about your past with depression.
So, as a young teen, yeah, I was a young teenager.
Yeah.
As a teenager, I went through uh different types of abuse, not in my home, like with my family, but um with a person that I thought was a friend, and that impacted my youth.
Yeah.
Um, that person changed my whole life, basically at like 12, 13 years old. And I was never myself again.
Oh,
I was never that happy girl. I had to move. I had to basically run for my life.
yeah.
get away from this person, and I lost all my friends.
Wow.
All the people that I was around, and I was just moving from school to school, and then I ended up moving to the United States. I'm from Puerto Rico, by the way. So all went on when
Puerto Rico part. Sorry, my fault. Yeah.
in Puerto Rico. So um, that situation made my youth just spiral, and I was just sad, depressed. Like I lost everything that was around me. My anxiety, I think, grew a lot from that as well. Having to watch my back for this person, and this person just like stalking me on social media and stuff and all of that. So it was a process that really impacted
Yeah.
my mental health at a young age.
Yeah. And as you've been talking to this therapist now, it's like fast forward. As you've been talking to her, right? Your therapist? It's a her, right? Okay. She's been able to get you out of this space that you're in slowly.
Yes, she has. And especially with my anxiety, I've learned a lot to control my anxiety, my anger, learning to think before I speak. Topics that, they're common sense to a human, but sometimes our actions don't turn out as common sense.
Yeah.
So those are things that she has truly like helped me out a lot with, along with my cooperation. And it's not just going to a therapist, but actually putting in the effort to, to walk out of that, negative mental state.
Yeah. 100%. And the crazy part is, like I said, I've been to a therapist too. Man, I've been through the ringer, girl. I went to the therapist. I went tried to talk to my parent. I went tried the whole nine. Okay, and it's crazy because I learned about one thing about mental health. It can literally be anything. And Coral, I just want to say thank you for telling us this, because I feel like people need to understand like this is not an easy journey, and it's something that you can't get over obviously in a day. And it's something that has to be addressed on a daily basis. And I appreciate you taking your time out of your day to talk to me and the people who are watching about this, because this is not easy, girl. Girl, let me tell you, it's not easy. It's not no thing. And I appreciate you that you're still, fighting hard and going, taking time out of your day to better yourself every time. So I appreciate that. So thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think, do you have anything that you would like to tell people who want to be, an entrepreneur, anybody who, is fighting with mental health, anything that you want to say?
Yes. So, becoming a business owner is not an easy journey. You have to be very emotionally stable, and a lot of times it's hard to keep a balance between our personal life and our business. And I just want to say it's totally normal, but you have to put in the effort to, battle those negative things that come towards you, and just always have your goal written down on your phone in front of you. So whenever you get upset or whenever you feel like quitting or like you're not doing enough, you look at that goal and remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing, why you're going through what you are going through. Because a lot of times there's going to be more downs than ups, honestly. There's just days that I wake up super happy, and then there's days that I wake up and I have no energy, but I have to wake up and I have to make it happen because I'm self-employed. If I don't get, my bills are not paid and I don't eat, so on and so on. So it's not if I want it to happen, it has to happen. And I took this upon myself. I left my full-time job to go full into my business, and I could see the roller coaster of emotion that I go through, especially myself. I have always been super emotional a lot. You could see my emotions right in my face, but that's something that I've had to learn how to control, how to learn how to manage, and not let little things get the best of me. Mental health wise, it is okay to ask for help. It is okay to open up. I know we're in a society that people think that just because you say, that you were going through a certain situation, that you're weak. No. Actually speaking about it and letting it out, you're just a step closer to bettering yourself. And don't let negative people around you drain you. And it is okay to remove toxic people. It is okay to move on, even if it hurts. Even if you feel like you're losing your world, trust me that when you get out of that bubble, you're going to say, oh my God, why didn't I let go of this negative object before? And you're going to feel like you're breathing again, and your mind is going to expand, and you're going to see all the beautiful things that you weren't able to see. So I just want to say it's okay. It's going to be fine, but you have to put in the effort. And speaking negative things are not going to get you anywhere. So sometimes when I feel like I have anxiety, and instead of me saying, oh my God, I have anxiety, I actually think like, oh, how can I feel better right now? What can I do? What can I do to distract myself? Because the mind is very powerful. And when you say things like, I'm depressed, you're literally declaring it. And no matter if you're trying to do whatever it is that you're trying to do to get out of that, you're already saying you're depressed. So try changing I'm depressed for I feel better. Even if you're broken inside in 1,000 pieces, try to replace those words. I have been doing that for months, and it has changed my life insanely. You're the only person that feels bad for yourself. Nobody else feels bad for yourself. So remove that petty thought and move on, because life goes, we're all adults, and we all have life problems.
Quote. That was a deep quote right there. I felt that one. I love that, yo. Yeah, so tell them where to find you. And yeah. And then we'll
my personal Instagram is __RRCG. My boutique page is Shop Catalea Co. And my marketing and networking company is called Society of CEOs.
Awesome. Thank you for being here on Perfect Timing, Coral. And we're out.
Thank you.
Bye.
Why you looking so drained? Remind me of what's your name? Is anybody listening to you?